Well, hello, Internet. We are super excited to bring you this version of Coach Conley's Corner. We'll have a television version, and then we'll have an Internet-only version. This version is going to be way cooler. So it's going to be the one you want to see every week. Coach Bill Conley, our Buckeye analyst, former Buckeye player, former Buckeye recruiting coordinator. He's seen it and done it all. He's a great guy to have in here. And every week, you'll get his expertise on what's going on in the state of Buckeye Nation, the upcoming opponent, all the stuff that really matters as you get yourself ready for a game day Saturday for Ohio State. Pretty boring offseason, eh?
Man, excitement every week.
Holy cow, it's been nuts. I mean, so when you go through a tumultuous offseason like Ohio State has gone through here, and every coach has gone through that in their career, probably not to this extent, but in some variety, what's the process for a coaching staff to just get the team to opening day?
Well, first of all, you got to keep them busy. The fortunate thing for us also as Buckeyes is that there's a culture at Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know, you practice hard, you watch a lot of film, you meet, and so there's so many things you can do as a coach to keep those players focused on the upcoming season, especially on a team like Oregon State.
It's going to be fascinating to see the Buckeyes on the field. They will not have Urban Meyer out there. It will be Ryan Day as the interim head coach. Those are all things that you know. As you look at Dwayne Haskins and you look at what he takes on in his first start here, man, rave reviews out of training camp. What do you expect out of him?
Well, first of all, everybody expects him to perform well, but understand this. This is his first official start as a starting quarterback at Ohio State University. So the coaches can't ask him to do too much too early. You know, work your way into it. Fortunately, he's got a great supporting cast, great receivers, great running backs, an offensive line that's ever improving. So, you know, the thing is to keep it simple at first. Let him take some shots.
Yeah.
So he can make the big play. But the main thing, here's what you don't want him to do. Force in a pass that shouldn't be thrown. You don't want him to put the ball on the ground either. So things like that. For an offense like this, you want in your first game in the stadium, you want them to control the tempo of the game and not give the ball up on your end of the field.
Right. A couple of things that really helped Dwayne in this game. He has 3 senior receivers who are all captains. Right. Veteran, mature guys who will certainly help him. They've been helping him all along. That is a huge relief for him going into the game. They might play 10 receivers, by the way. They've got a ton of depth at that position. We'll see if any of those guys maybe emerge. Maybe Benjamin Victor takes that long-awaited step to the next level, a big guy, big target. We'll see what he can do. It's very nice for him, for Dwayne Haskins, that he can turn around and hand it to 2 of the premier running backs in the country. Either anytime he turns around, one of those guys is going to be back there to take the handoff. Let's go to defense. I want to talk about that defensive front, who everybody is going to be watching Saturday. You can't wait to see what Nick Bosa comes off the edge looking like this year as opposed to what it was last year. It was just almost unblockable at times. And then Chase Young is a physical freak. If that guy shows up on the field, it is a nightmare. And we didn't even talk about Jonathan Cooper. Jonathan Cooper is a 5-star kid out of high school who is absolutely going to play and play a lot in this defense. It's a plethora of riches there.
Yeah, in Oregon State's offensive line, that's the one area they do have some depth. They only lost 1 out. They're 2 deep. But they also lost a lot of games.
Yes, they did.
You know, and so that may not so bad. Here's what I look for them to do to try to slow up our defensive front. Look for the big, tall quarterback to dump it off to the backs, to run some quick screens to the outside, maybe even some middle screens. If they can try to slow down and at least make one of those guys spy for a guy coming out of the backfield or something like that, then they'll keep some heat off the quarterback.
They've also, at the linebacker position, there's going to be a lot of people on the field Saturday in terms of starting, and then you're going to see guys like Tuff Borland, who was a starter at the end of last year, hurt his Achilles in the spring. He might play in this game. His recovery has been miles ahead of schedule. He might try to get on the field, and down the line, that may be your middle linebacker starter. You're going to have Baron Browning starting in the middle. Pete Werner earned a starting job on the outside. That was a little bit of a surprise,
he had a great spring.
Apparently so. They love the guy.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Tuff Borland, I think Tuff will play. I don't think he'll play a lot. And I think one thing, Ohio State, and I think they should be able to do this against Oregon State, I think they'll play a lot of players on defense, a lot of players at the linebacker spot. And you guys get the outside backer like they play great, and Lee Harrison and all that stuff. Here's the thing. That group, I think, is probably the biggest question mark for the football team on defense.
I agree.
Because they're so important not to just stop in the run, but to stop also underneath passing game and break on the ball. So we've got to really make sure we get a good, sound group of linebackers in this first few games experience before we get into the Big Ten season.
And there's guys we didn't mention there. Obviously, you mentioned Malik Harrison, who coaches raved about in this offseason. Thought he took a big jump, and he was really good last year. But also Dante Booker coming off yet another injury, who we still don't know if he could ever stay healthy. He's got so much talent in that body. Let's talk about Oregon State here for a minute, the first opponent for the Buckeyes. Bill, they weren't good.
You're being very kind.
Last year,
You're being very kind.
They were 1-11 last year. They were 112th in the country in total offense. They were actually worse on defense, 120th in the country. And that's why there's a new head coach. His name's Jonathan Smith. Jonathan actually played quarterback for the Beavers not that long ago. Very good quarterback on some Beaver teams that were very competitive. I think he took them to the Fiesta Bowl, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he's from Pasadena, California.
Right, from Pasadena,
So you see the karma that they're trying to create here.
Right.
Former quarterback, took him to actually a co-championship in the league and took him to a bowl victory.
Little magic in Corvallis.
They're trying everything. They've had, this will be 4 head coaches, different head coaches, some of these seniors have played for.
That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, and you think about, what this would mean for them to come here and play well. It would be an enormous deal for them to come here and play well, let alone win the game. But let's talk about the expectations for them. You mentioned a moment ago the giant quarterback, Jake Luton. He's 6'7". Giant is not, maybe it's an understatement there. At 6'7", you just rarely see like a Brock Osweiler type size guy. Didn't play a lot last year, but 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, won the job in camp. Obviously, he can see downfield, but he's got some tough work ahead of him, I'm afraid, Saturday.
Yeah, he might be able to see the field before he gets off the bus. I mean, this is unbelievable. He was doing, fairly good before he got hurt, but he missed the last 8 games.
Yeah.
So there's some questions, obviously, in his mind. He's going against one of the most physical defenses in the country.
Yeah.
And he's got to stay in the pocket and take it because Ohio State will come after him. I think they'll come after him with some blitzes. They'll come with edge pressure because the only way that you can get into a big guy's frame of his body is by coming from his blind side.
Yeah.
So look for some blitzing.
They'll definitely bring that. They got all the heat they can muster at Ohio State. A lot of speed there. Let's talk about just some of the intangible things. Yeah. No Urban. The players will go out and play the football game because they're excited to go out and play the game. They're not really going to worry or care. You know what I mean? Right. They're going to go out and do their job. They're under surveillance. They've got a lot of video on those guys. They're going to go out and play. What do you expect from Ryan? Ryan Day taking this job. He's got plenty of help, guys with veteran experience on the sideline to help him out. What do you expect from him specifically?
Well, fortunately, he doesn't have to worry about anything defensively. Greg Schiano will take care of that. He's been there. He's been a head coach. He knows how to do that. And with Kevin Wilson, they have a great relationship. And, he wants to be the quarterback coach first of all. He's going to be the guy in Dwayne Haskins' ear when he comes off the field and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a thing I think that the players saw this coming, this could happen, and I think they'll be fine. They'll want to perform well for all their coaches, as well as Coach Meyer, even though he's not there.
Last thing, this game I think is cathartic. People need this. After what's gone on, people need to go. The reason people love Ohio State football is the passion behind it, the tradition behind it. It's ritualistic. It's like a church service. You go in on Saturday, you sit in your assigned seat, the band comes out, that's the church music. They come out, they play it. You all rise, you stand up and down a lot. There's a lot of similarities. It's a wonderful part of our culture in this part of the country that this thing exists. And we haven't focused on this. All we've thought about is the investigation and the issues that this program's dealt with. How comforting do you think it's going to be for people to just walk in that building Saturday?
For everybody, including us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a chance to talk football.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
And it's been a big weight on everybody's shoulders. And the football team, I think, also needs to get focused on game week. And that way, they'll get by it. Because it's time to change. I'm tired of listening to national sporting stations, and that's all they talk about still.
Yeah.
So, first week of football, it'll be over, hopefully.
There'll be a comfort level in that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we'll let this thing play out as it plays out. And, if Urban Meyer's back in Game 4 as scheduled, then, life marches on. But, for now, I think the comfort of Saturday is just to go back and do the thing that we love to do. And there's a lot of good in that. So we will see you throughout the season. Coach Conley and I will come to you every Thursday. We'll bring you Coach Conley's Corner, get you set for the game. We'll also answer questions, so if there's things you want to know about throughout the season, you can obviously email us at the station. We'll certainly do our best to answer those questions. We'll analyze every game. We'll look forward to the next game. And whatever may come up, who knows?
Who knows?
Anymore, but we'll be ready for it. Thanks for watching us.